that, I'm going to talk about Umpqua's innovative app that they have for secure communication directly to your banker. Which I can say right now, we are the only bank that offers this type of technology so far. I would imagine in the next year or so you'll see a lot more banks using this type. So, my name is Ryan Stevens. I am the store manager at Umpqua Bank in Las Colinas, and I've been with Umpqua Bank now for almost a year. August will be 1 year. It's been quite the change of pace for me compared to my previous banking job, but I love it so far and starting to feel like I'm getting into the groove with Umpqua and understanding banking's banking, but every bank does things differently. So, feeling comfortable with that. I was born and raised here in Red Bluff. I went to all schooling here in Red Bluff. After I graduated Red Bluff High in 2000, I went up to Shasta College, played basketball for a couple of years. Then I moved far away south to Chico for about 7 or 8 years, and finished up my AA at Butte College, and then went on to Chico State in psychology, of all things. So fast forward, I am now married and have a blended family with 5 kids. So I'm busy all the time. We have a 12-year-old boy, we have an 11-year-old daughter, 9-year-old boy, and 2 identical twin girls who are now 3. So definitely keep me busy. Yeah. And I enjoy hunting, fishing, golfing, basketball, sports, pretty much anything outdoors. So that's a little bit about me. So what I want to talk about today is, I've always wanted to do like a financial literacy thing, which Colleen, the one that you presented a few weeks ago, was excellent. But I find that's stuff that I do every day. But with Umpqua, we have an app that's called Go2. And so it's pretty revolutionary in the fact that it is a secure way, in this day and age with everyone with the smartphones and communication to banking, people typically are only coming into banks these days if they have a problem, especially our consumer customers. Business customers are coming in and making their deposits 5 days a week, 3 days a week, but our consumer customers, we're seeing a huge drop-off in coming into the store as far as, activity. And every time they come in, it's usually because there's a problem. And so we spend most of our day being problem solvers and then finding solutions for those customers to fix whatever they have going on. What the Go2 app does is it allows you to select your banker, any banker. You can have a virtual banker that's up in Portland, or you can have a banker here in Red Bluff locally, or my banker Donna in Las Colinas. And it's a secure way to communicate for any reason. I mean, you could get the process of, like for example, if Jody sends me an equity line person, and this person wants to communicate in that way, they can do the communication for the equity through the app instead of maybe unsecured email or giving out personal numbers for text messaging. So Go2, it's more than an app, it's a communication channel that instantly connects customers to a financial expert. If you're talking to a banker and they don't have an expertise in, say, small business lending, then they can transfer that customer to a small business lender to also have that communication and get all 3 people involved. You could go on your phone at 10 o'clock at night and say, hey Donna, who's my banker, they don't allow managers to have it yet for some reason, but you could say, I need to order checks, or I need to get personal loans started, or I have some credit card debt that I want to talk to you about, which is, super convenient for you. And you can message at any time. You may not get a response till the next morning, but sometimes I know I'm laying in bed and I'm like, oh, the checklist gets longer. And sometimes that has to do with banking or going into the bank. So this is a way that you may be able to, solve an issue without even having to, take the time out of your busy day. I'm just going to read off the list just to kind of give you an idea of more of the details. We have digital client advisors. They're a primary relationship holder with customers who are recruited via digital channels. So if a customer goes online and wants to open an account online, they'll most likely get to meet a digital client advisor, and sometimes they'll connect on GoTo with them. The digital client advisors and bankers, they never compete over ownership. So as a customer, if you're just not getting what you need from your banker, you can switch bankers and it's no harm. Our digital client advisors are based out of Spokane and Portland, and they focus on building relationships strictly just through the digital market, through the online banking, our Umpqua, the GoTo app, and then our Umpqua Pay app, which is a debit card app that you can manage your debit card through, get fraud alerts, turn your card off, turn it back on, all different kinds of things. You can even limit your spending power as far as if you have a child that has a debit card, they're limited $100 a day, and then manage that through there. The bankers are available Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Saturday from 9 to 3. It's available to all Umpqua customers as long as they have a personal banking login. It's also available to anybody. So today, when we finish, if anybody would like to download the app, you can set it up as a prospect and then send a message to my banker. So anyone that's willing to help me with that, because I want to get my banker, I mean, we're in Las Molinas. I was looking at our top 100 customers yesterday, and we probably have 70 customers that have been with us for 18 years or more.
Wow.
Which is really unheard of in banking. I would say the industry average is probably 6 to 7 years before people are maybe willing to change banks for one reason or another. GoTo is secure. We take every precaution to protect customer information. With my iPhone, I love it because I have it set up for my fingerprint. So my username already floods in. I just put my thumb on there and it logs me in, and then I can send a message off. It's not an added task. Over time, it will streamline communication channels to make our frontline associates work easier. And GoTo is not a product and shouldn't be forced on customers, which is a no-brainer. No one wants stuff forced on them. And then it's just a value-added service that we have to offer that just makes your banking experience, I'd say, a little more convenient on that. So that's what I have for GoTo. Now, does anyone in the room use it? Have you messaged anybody? Do you have any feedback?
It's, I like going in the bank and having the iPhone, so I don't really use it that much, but I have used it, and it was convenient when I was first setting up everything.
Well, I feel more old school. If we didn't have this, I'd be okay, but it's just the way it's going on that. So, would anyone be willing to download the app and sign up, and then I can give you the name of my banker, and then we can send her a message today?
I just did. I'm an Umpqua client, so I need to make some changes. And I went on the website the other day. You know, it'd be cool is if the app, the regular banking app, would say, "Hey, we've got this cool little other thing called, GoTo."
Yeah.
But it never told me that, so this is the first time I've heard about it, which is good because I got to do some of those global changes like contact information and all that stuff. Is that something that I can do on there?
Well, you can request, depending on your banker, you can get the process started.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
You can say,
so I just download it.
Like if you're an existing.
So let's get started.
So if you're an existing customer, then you can say, hey, I want to come in Friday. I want to open a savings account. Can you have the paperwork ready for me?
Okay, gotcha.
And then you stop in, make your deposit, sign, and you're done in 5 minutes. Which to a lot of people, that's super convenient these days. I find just banks doing that a lot more now is just trying to find the best way to be convenient, because nobody wants to stand in the bank for 20 minutes to make a simple deposit or even open an account, especially when you're an existing customer. So this is another way to communicate if you need an additional account, savings accounts, if you want to check loan rates, CD rates, get any type of loan started, or just a general question, you know, how much interest did I earn on my CD last year? I gotta tell my tax person. Just text it right back.
Okay. So it's sending me a text message.
So you'll want to, who do you work with in our love?
Well, I'm in Reading, so
Their banker just moved to Weaver.
okay. Sent through 2 weeks ago.
Do you use it, Cody?
What's that?
Do you use the go-to at all?
I have it on there. I didn't use it.
You haven't used it at all.
Hey Ryan, so you've worked for a couple of different banks over the years. In my background, I've worked for one of the largest banks in the world. What would you say sets Umpqua apart?
What I would say to that is the culture. You know, for Wells Fargo, you know, they've tried to do a rebranding with their culture based on some of the sales ethics that they were doing for years.
Forced products?
Well, products you didn't even know you had. I mean, I've personally heard stories of a credit card and 3 debit cards showing up when you thought you only opened 1 checking, and then you found out later that you had 3 savings, 2 checkings, and a credit card. It's, yeah, and then what the bankers would do, they'd say, oh, well, it was a mistake, and they would just close it, and then close the credit card, but they still got their tick marks for credit to keep their job. So they, you know, they had commercials that they were apologizing on national TV, which, you know, their culture was really bad. So I would say with culture and the staff, the people that you deal with, every bank has the same products. You can go get a checking account at 9 different banks in town. But it's the people that you're dealing with that I feel makes the difference. It's not the name of the bank. I mean, we have our slogan, the world's greatest bank, which is kind of funny, kind of catchy. It gets old to say on our part, but you know, it sparks conversations. But I think mostly it's just the people that you deal with, and that you know, I feel like with customers, I've met with customers to where we just hit it off. We have a mutual understanding. I understand what they're looking for. They, you know, by building rapport with them, I earn their trust, and then it just works great. Then I've had some customers that it's just like, it's like, customer, I'm telling you what's best for you, and I'm showing you the numbers of why, but it just doesn't make sense. So it's not always a good fit, but I would definitely say.
Oh, yay.
So
good
here I'm
job.
choosing my banker.
Yay.
Now this person, I have 6 kids. So this person says they have a lot of kids. See, it gave me these suggestions. I don't know how I did it.
That's funny.
I think, okay, because you know what's cool about the bank, at least what's crazy about the Reading banks, I don't go in very often, and they remember my name. It's like,
Yeah, their managers.
Just a memorable guy there, John.
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah. So choose Donna, and you can always change.
Anybody else have any
Ryan
questions
made
for us?
me do
Yeah,
it.
She'll be thankful.
Yeah.
I just have a quick comment. My husband and I just recently gone to Umpqua Bank, and we worked with Donna, and she was telling us about this, and I'm really excited about it because I think it's a great hybrid of technology that as we enter in, you know, and I kind of feel the same way that Kit does too. I want to have a personal relationship with my banker, and this is a really good way to do that. You know, we've met Donna, and now I know that, you know, when I have a question, then I can just text Donna, not just whoever it is that's there. So I'm excited about it, and we were really happy with the excellent customer service that we received when we opened the account.
It certainly seems like something that would work well with the younger generation that doesn't like to communicate face to face. They
Right.
text and Snapchat. Or is there a Snapchat option that go to?
Yeah.
No,
that'd be
I don't know if that'd be secure enough.
Instagram.
But I mean, you know, and with my, and I forgot to mention my banking career, I started with a very small community bank, community bank. Went on to, Butte Community Bank was bought by Rabobank, and then I went from Rabobank down to Tri-Counties, and then Tri-Counties to Umpqua for a total of 11 years now. Doing it for some time, at least I feel like it.
Yeah.
With another 25 years to go or so.
But who's counting, right?
There you go.
Any questions? Banking in general?
You know, I'd just like to say that for a small business like mine who has very few swipes on a credit card, that's one of my biggest, like it's a 3% with PayPal and Square, but when you add up everything behind it, 7%. And that ends up being a lot of money. And so I went to Rabobank and said, well, you know, this is what I'm paying. Can you beat it? And the answer is by a penny or two, but it puts everything in one swipe and not two different areas. So my reoccurring charges can happen in that environment as well as my swipes and gomos. And then everything's under one roof also, which is good.
Well, and since you bring that up with the merchant services, accepting debit cards and credit cards in your business, I would always recommend never go with the person that's walking into your office.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen so many people get locked into contracts and paying so much for equipment that it is outrageous. I mean, we're talking paying $2,500 for a machine that sometimes you can get for free or for $200 or $300 refurbished. So you want to check with a bank, and I would check with a couple of banks, because most banks have, well, all banks have a merchant services person, a specialist, but they may use a different company. So I would definitely, if anyone's looking for credit card processing services or looking to save some money, 2 months of statements, and any bank can give you the which I'd like to be one of those. Because we have helped out a few customers in Las Vegas and beat out B of A on a couple.
Yay!
So,
Okay. Well, Ryan, thank you very much. That's great.